Good morning, everyone. It's heartbreaking to watch what's going on the west coast of Florida. Dozens of people have lost their lives. Countless people have lost their homes, living without power. Their cars are submerged beneath water. And it beckons on all of us to lend a hand to help our brothers and sisters on the west coast of Florida. But at the same time, I read in the news that there are people who are looting. As someone once said, the worst of Mother Nature could either bring out the best in human nature or the worst in human nature. There are those who choose, to the majority of people, to help, to show love and compassion and generosity and help the victims. And then there are those who see this as an opportunity to take advantage of the vulnerable victims of the hurricane. Rosh Hashanah was observed just last week, which is the anniversary of the creation of man. And when God made man, he said, let us make man, na'aseh adam. The famous question is, why does it say it in the plural, let us make man, if there's only one God? And Rabbi Soloveitchik gives a very novel interpretation. And he says, God is speaking to each and every one of us and saying, let us make man in my image. Yes, God gave us a soul, which is in the divine image, but we have free choice whether we're going to act in accordance with that divine soul or contrary to it. And therefore God says, I need your partnership in making a man, making a mensch, a good human being out of you. And we partner with God. And on Yom Kippur, we atone for those times that we acted contrary to our divine image, rather than in sync with our divine soul. When you see the looting on the west coast of Florida, that should inspire you to do more good. Because as Rabbi Nachman of Breslov said, if you believe that you can destroy, you must also believe that you can build and create. When you see the human capacity for causing harm and destruction to innocent victims, causing them more pain and suffering, that tells you that you must believe in your power and your ability to do good. I tell a story about an artist who wanted to paint a portrait of the most beautiful person. So he went out and found the most beautiful person he can find and said, can you sit in my studio and I'll paint a portrait of you? A number of years later, he said, I already painted the most beautiful person. Let me paint the most ugliest person I can find. So he goes down to the slums, to the Bowery, where he sees some drunken person laying in his filth, hasn't shaved or cleaned in a long time. He's filthy, his hair is grown, his nails are grown. And he says, come, I'll pay you if you sit in my studio and let me paint a portrait of you. The man sits through the portrait, and afterwards he says, I can't see you the way you are. Please go upstairs, have a shower, clean yourself off. I'm going to call a barber and a tailor and get you all groomed, and you'll come back down. I'll serve you a wonderful dinner. 2 hours later, the man comes down all cleaned and got groomed, and he was dressed beautifully, and he looks at him, and he realizes he's the same person that he had painted in a portrait of the most beautiful person just a few years ago. Every human being has two versions. One is in the image of God, the most beautiful version, the most beautiful person. On the other hand, we could also choose, God forbid, to be the ugliest human beings. Let us choose to do good and to help our brothers and sisters on the west coast of Florida. The rabbi in Fort Myers, the Chabad rabbi, is a dear friend of mine. His name is Rabbi Yitzchak Minkowitz. I called him, I've been in touch with him, and I said, what can we do to help? And he said there are hundreds of people in his community who don't have power, aren't able to cook. And he put up a big tent, and he's serving meals and also sending meals to those in need. Every day he's serving dinner to 300 to 400 people. I told him that our community will sponsor tonight's dinner for all the people in Fort Myers and his community and beyond, Jewish and non-Jewish, who need a hot meal, but not just a hot meal, words of encouragement and hope and optimism. So please go on to his website, which is hurricaneianrelieffund.com, hurricaneianrelieffund.com, and make a generous donation to help our brothers and sisters in need. And may God bless them and bless all of us to have a happy and a healthy year.